Hey everybody, here's just a quick overview on syncing dual system audio with video using slates. You can take an entire bin of footage and drag it into a timeline, and then you want to have your audio clips hopefully nicely organized by your mixer into folders in accessible to you, open in a window. So go to the beginning of your clip and see what you're working with. This is scene 14A, take 1. So find my sound for scene 14A, take 1, and drag it in. Now, one of the first things you want to do is make some space, because if your auto sync works, it's going to shift the video rather than shifting the audio, meaning when it brings it into sync, it's actually going to trim your next clip. So you need to select forward in your timeline and make some space. Then you can select your audio and your video and right-click, synchronize, and then choose a track that has the slate on it in both the camera sound and the multi-channel mixer sound. So in this case it looks like I've got a slate on channel 4 in both, so I can say track channel 4, okay, it's going to do its best. Couldn't sync it. Alright, so another option, if that doesn't work, you go to synchronize and say sync it on the mix down. That's going to look at a sum of all of these tracks and a sum of all of these tracks and hopefully find the slate. Nope, couldn't synchronize it. This is not uncommon. There's a lot of reasons why this can happen. So let's sync it by hand. So when you go into sync it by hand, you just want to locate both your slates. There's one, and there's the one in the audio.
We see you!
So just slide them into rough orientation, put your marker on them, and zoom in. And looks like I nailed it. Looks like I really got it. You see how they're a little bit apart, and you can't get them closer because your video is only going to shift by frames. So if I try to get them closer than this, I can't. You can see that mine was already in the show audio time units mode. So this is what you want to do if you want to get your clips closer than you can. Basically, if you want to do sub-frame resolution audio editing, you turn on show audio time units, and now your video is still moving in frames, but your audio will slip in sub-frame amounts. So you can really go right in there and command left arrow this audio to really bring it into sync. And if you want to move it faster, it's command shift left arrow will move it in groups of 10 samples. So you can really line those pups up. And now they're in sync, and you're good. In some situations, you're going to trim your audio back down, but for this particular project I'm working on, the preference for the team is to leave the audio handles there. So let's do sync a couple more clips. I just pull it into some neutral workspace because if my auto sync works, it's going to shift that video, and I don't want it to interfere with any of my other clips. Let's just look at what we've got. 14A, take 2, 14A, take 2, highlight them, synchronize. We'll try it on track 4 this time. Nope, couldn't do it. Let's try it on track 1. Nope, for whatever reason, it's unhappy. Maybe there's too many audio peaks that look like they could be slates in there. Sometimes it's the soft sticks are just too soft. You never know exactly what the issue is. It's just sometimes it doesn't work. So zoom this pup in, and It looks like it actually did work. It told me it didn't work, but it certainly got pretty close. Let's just make sure that that's actually the slate we're seeing there. Yep, for sure is. And let's go right in on this, and I can use, if I select the video and its attached audio, I can use Command right key, left key to shift by frames, and we can see already frames are way too big. So then I go down, drag my audio subframe so I can get really tight, and then use Command right arrow to make the fine adjustment, and then I've got perfect sync. Come back out, shoving my done stuff over here, and let's do one more, and then we'll look at the next sort of phase of this. So 14B, take one. Now here I would want to note if I had an extra audio, if I had an A-003 .wave that didn't have any video associated with it, I'd want to put that onto the timeline, mark it in red, so the editor realizes we have some audio recording that that isn't associated with the video clip. But I also want to listen to it and see maybe it's obvious what it is. Maybe it's some wild sound, or maybe it's a false take. In which case I can either put it in the bin as wild sound or delete it on my own. But often when you have something in your audio folder and there's missing video, that's something that the editor wants to be appraised of. So this is B01, ever hopeful. We're going to see if we can synchronize. Looks like there's a good slate on track 4. See if it'll do it. Yep, did it nicely. But then you always double check. Go right in there and see. It only gives you frame accuracy, and for me that's not close enough. I want subframe accuracy on the sync. There, that's going to be really, really close. So once you've done your syncing, you go through the rest of your footage clip by clip, sync up everything, anything that's unidentified and left on the timeline. You can label it. In this project, we're using a rose label to indicate things that have a problem. And then often what I'll do also is I'll just add some text to it with a little explanation of what's going on. But note that when you add a note like this, it has to be for the clips that you are leaving in the timeline here. When you merge these and copy them into the destination bins, you can't merge the graphic with them. So this is just for things that you're leaving for the editor in the timeline. And then the way we're doing it in this project is we're actually making a bin for each scene and renaming all the files. And also, as may happen in your case, there is a frame shift required between the video and the audio, because the camera sound has a several frame delay in it just because of the recording hardware that's being used, and so the synchronization is now synced to the same delayed sound. So just take a look. You'll see what that is. I'm going to go back into frame time units so we can see what this looks like. See, we've got an early slate right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like it's 4 frames. And well, I know it's 4 frames in this particular case. So when you're prepping these to drag them into the bins, first I'm going to delete my old audio, take my new audio, shift drag it so it doesn't shift in, so it doesn't change in time. So shift, click, drag, so that it doesn't move either forwards or backwards in time. It stays in sync. And then highlight these, and I know that I need a 4-frame shift, so I go Command left arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I should be in perfect sync. One, two. Yeah. And just do another one just to be sure.
Speeding.
Market.
Yeah, good sync. So then, this is 14A take 2, this is 14A take 1. So I just find my scene 14 bin here, highlight them, drag them in, and say 14A1, which is just the format that we're using. This, drag 14A2, and 14B1. 14B. And so notice I didn't have to merge these, I didn't have to link these. Just by dragging them, highlighting them all and dragging them into the bin, I'm creating a merged file. So if I drag one of these back out, we'll see that it's linked and merged as a clip. All right, that's all I wanted to go over. Some tips for syncing up your audio.